I'm Saul Kirsch with Double Alpha Academy, and I'm very pleased to be here today to introduce to you our new product, the Double Alpha Steel Setter. And what this device will do is what no other product offers. It'll reset a full-size, full-weight pepper popper target. Now this device can be used as a standalone add-on to any steel target that you may have. The only requirement is that your target be a backward falling target, not a forward falling target. Pretty much you can fit this device onto any base that you may have behind your popper. We designed the product to be very compact. The footprint is less than 50 centimeters by 12 centimeters wide, or roughly 4 inches by just under 20 inches. So the entire contraption can fit behind and inside the base of most pepper popper targets that are out there and available on the market. The steel part which fits behind the target includes a powerful actuator motor which is capable of lifting the target hundreds of times off a single portable rechargeable battery. The device itself and the brains of the device are supplied in a waterproof container, meaning that you can leave these targets out in the rain, you can operate them all day long, they are completely weatherproof, and they'll offer you many long hours of service before you'll need to recharge your battery. There are multiple options available for the battery. The device ships from here excluding a battery, but you can source and purchase any 12-volt rechargeable battery, and we would recommend using at least a battery of 10 amps in size. This battery here is a 20 amp battery, and we've tested it up to 650 cycles of resetting this full-size steel target. The electronics and the battery pack are situated in this waterproof ammo can, and they're connected to the actuator via a 5-meter long cable which connects with a waterproof plug to the back of the lifting system. This allows you to place the battery and electronics out of harm's way, behind some sandbags or behind an extra berm, far enough away so that the shooters engaging the targets will not accidentally hit your electronics or battery. The device itself will bolt down behind the steel target, either onto the target's base directly, or if your target has no solid base, as is the case here, you can bolt the device down behind the popper onto the same wooden base that holds the popper itself. So long as the actuator assembly and the pepper popper target are bolted down to the same wooden base, the device will function. You can use the Double Alpha Steel Setter on a full-size target. You can fit it behind and use it on a mini target, a mini popper, or you could set it behind a steel sniper target, pretty much any steel target up to the weight of a full-size popper which falls backwards on a hinge close to its lower base. The design of the device is such that it allows the target to fall almost all the way down to a flat position. In fact, it'll fall down to about a 10-degree angle, depending on how the base is designed and where exactly you position your actuator. So what I'd like to show you now is how you'd set up and attach your steel setter to this full-size popper, and we'll see it in action here in the studio. So I'm going to show you here how to position your Double Alpha Steel Setter behind this full-size popper to get the best results and to set it up correctly. You may be able to see that this popper has a framework as a base. It doesn't have a complete steel plate on the bottom, so we cannot bolt our lifting system directly into the base of the popper. But there won't be much of a problem. All you need to do is take a sturdy piece of board or a pallet, lay that underneath the popper, bolt the popper down to that piece of board or pallet, and then the lifter can bolt down to that same base and function perfectly fine. The first thing you want to do is set the device into its calibration mode in order to determine the correct position, and it's important to get this right. So here we go. The first step will be to connect the control cord, and that connects via the plug to the back of the device. It's directional, but it's clearly indicated as to how it needs to fit. Line up the dots on the top, tighten the connector. Since this is bolted down, I can't get the cord under the way I would usually do it, but we'll set it up like so. After the cable is securely connected to the lifting system, we'll address the electronics in our waterproof case. Now the controller here allows you to set the time of delay, how long the target will wait before it resets. And by turning the black knob you can adjust that down from 3 seconds, which is almost instantaneous, up to just over 16 minutes or 999 seconds to determine how long delay you want before the target resets. Now for competition use, you may want to set that at about 180 seconds or perhaps 200 seconds, just over 3 minutes, so that you can be sure that once all the targets are patched and the new shooter is on the line, meantime the steel have reset and they're ready to go for the next shooter. So you can control that, you can configure that in the control box. So in order to find the right position of the lifting mechanism behind the target, we have to determine the correct distance from the steel, and to do that we'll put the device into its calibration mode. In the calibration mode you first press and hold down the delay knob and press the power knob at the same time, holding them both down for 3 seconds. First the knob, then the power. So here we go, we're going to do that and hold that for 3 seconds. The device has moved up and it displays calibration on the 7 segments, and this is now the forwardmost position of the target. It's the position the target will reach in the lifting system, and now you can go ahead and position the steel lifter so that it is positioned touching the back of the steel, not pushing firmly against it, but literally just making contact. And you'll want to ensure that the steel setter is parallel to your target, not sitting at an angle, but nicely centered behind the steel target and at the correct distance, just touching the steel with its Delrin roller when in calibration mode. So here's the position that I'm going to want to bolt my lifting system down to this wooden base. And for the sake of the demonstration here, I'm just going to use 2 little screws. This is not going to be a permanent assembly. Obviously, if you want to set this up to be used long term, you want to make sure that you use heavy duty bolts and set it up in a durable manner. We will cut through to the second screw. Okay, so I now have the lifting system bolted down and I'm ready to go. To exit the calibration mode, turn the device off and then back on again. And we're ready to see it function. Now I'm going to leave the delay here set to 3 seconds. That's the shortest delay available. I'm just going to reposition my controller down here on the floor. Since this table is not very sturdy, I'll drop it one time here, just gently letting it fall down, and we'll see the lifter in action. And there you have it. The cycle time is about 7 or 8 seconds from the time the target starts lifting. This will be the position in which the actuator arm waits for the target to fall. The target, and we're going to run it now on the floor so it's more stable. This table is not really suitable for dropping so much weight. The target can fall full speed and hit the stopper over here. There's an electromagnet switch inside that senses the position that the target is down. Then the actuator kicks in, lifts the target back and resets it. Let's put this down on the ground and see it run. And as you can see, the target is a full weight 10mm hard steel pepper popper. The device is designed to lift it, or 20 or 30% more should you be using a 12mm steel target. So there you have it. The Double Alpha steel setter is going to be available before this summer, and we're going to head out to the range now and let you see this in action as it's being used out on the range.